This is the newsroom for today, Wednesday, February 17, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarsi TV in Vartika. In the headlines, search ongoing at sea for boat with dead bodies. Authorities warn that those faking COVID-19 test results will face the law. The Public Works Minister tells contractors to ensure they stick to the contract designs and specifications.
Now, if a written instruction is given to the contractor, right, it means that he's either doing less or he's doing more.
And in sport, appeal thrown out, way cleared for DCB elections, and Senasi to challenge Skerrit for CWI post. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that local authorities were on Wednesday still trying to locate and recover the vessel, which was spotted 3 days ago and was said to contain several decomposed bodies. Up to news time, officials from the Maritime Administration, the Guyana Police Force, and the Guyana Defence Force, who went out at sea on Tuesday night, were yet to return.
Minister of Public Works Juan Edgil told the media at an emergency press conference late Tuesday that unfortunately and distressingly, those persons who have been in pursuit of the boat found with dead bodies for over 24 hours lost sight of it. The minister said the boat was last seen around 9:55, some 83 nautical miles from Guyana's shores, on Monday night, but after several hours of aerial and water patrol on Tuesday and Wednesday, authorities came up empty-handed. Reports of the first sighting of the boat were made around 1400 hours on Monday by a private operator. The vessel was said to be drifting some 112 nautical miles from the Georgetown coast.
I said we are distressed because while we had the initial shock of the sighting of that boat, receiving the report as of 4 minutes after 2 yesterday, and our efforts during the afternoon, last sighting 53 minutes after 7 last night, and I need to indicate at that time the weather out at sea was not friendly based upon the reports that we would have received.
Stephen Thomas, Director General of the Maritime Administration Department, MARAD, said authorities were unable to get close to the boat to allow for it to be attached to another vessel and towed to shore due to bad weather.
The vessel that is operating offshore, the Seaway, she indicated to us about the presence of this vessel in the first instance. As Minister Jill mentioned, the protocol for the company apparently involves when they're going to engage in any activities, they get permission from their principals, which they subsequently did, and then they tried to connect to the vessel to tow it in. But all the while, they stayed with it, they were drifting with it, and as I said, the end result, as Captain Flores mentioned, they indicated to us that it was too rough for them to go very close and to get a line onto it.
Director of Maritime Safety, Captain John Flores, showed the direction in which the vessel was drifting.
This is the initial position of the boat. Yesterday when we got the report from the felt, this is the position, the last sighting last night at 1953. So these are known positions. Based on this, the direction and the speed of the current that was given to us, we projected it forward. This is the night. So it's still moving in a westerly direction. The chart itself is a bit oriented, not exactly to the north. This is north. So it's moving roughly aligned to the west.
The newsroom understands that 2 boats with members of the GDF Coast Guard, police ranks and local residents were dispatched from the Northwest District along with a helicopter from the Guyana Defence Force for well over 5 hours on Tuesday. They were also supported by a helicopter from ExxonMobil, but the boat was not sighted. Authorities are now speculating that it may have drifted into another country's waters or could have sunk because of the rainy weather and rough seas. There have also been no reported missing boats or crew from Guyana, Suriname, or Trinidad. The authorities here are still not sure as to the origin of the boat and the nationality of the deceased persons. In the meantime, the police and forensics are prepared with the necessary equipment to conduct an investigation once the boat is found. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanel Pato.
Now, Guyanese at home and persons attempting to enter the country are being placed on notice that should they be found using forged or fake COVID-19 test results, they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Guyana has made it mandatory for all persons entering the country to produce a negative PCR COVID-19 test in order to be allowed in. Other countries have imposed the same restriction for persons entering their jurisdiction. The minister said while there have been no specific cases of people using forged tests to leave the country, there have been reports of persons using fake tests to gain entry into Guyana. Dr. Anthony warned that should this be found to be true, those persons would be detained, handed over to the police and placed before the courts. The COVID-19 Public Health Ordinance makes provision for this to happen.
Well, once we find those persons, they are going to be prosecuted by the police. And that's the very simple answer. We have had some reports, not so much of people going out, but we've had reports of people coming in where they were forging their PCR results, because remember, we require a PCR to come into Guyana. And that we had reports that people were forging their PCR results to come to Guyana. And we have launched an investigation into that. We have alerted the airport authorities for those respective countries, telling them that this is something that we have heard of, and we would like them to be extra vigilant. We have alerted the airlines that are bringing in passengers from these destinations. So we have done some of that work to heighten the vigilance in terms of coming in. But here going out, I haven't had any specific cases.
Meanwhile, a 69-year-old woman from Region 4 has died of COVID-19, taking the country's death toll to 189. The woman died on Tuesday, the Ministry of Health reported, becoming the 14th person to die from the disease this month. If anyone is displaying the symptoms associated with COVID-19 or need any additional information, you're asked to contact the COVID-19 hotline on 231-1166 or visit health.gov.gy. 2 months after the murder of an 82-year-old retired Anglican priest, George Chakasang, a man and a woman were on Wednesday charged and remanded to prison for the crime. Raul McPherson, aged 45, of Victoria East Coast, Demerara, and Mohani Mohabir, aged 43, of Quarantine Babis, appeared before the Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. The duo denied that between December 21 and 23, 2020, at St. Sidwell's Anglican Church, Blessingen Road, Lodge, Georgetown, they murdered Chakasang. The Chief Magistrate remanded the duo to prison until February 25. Newsroom understands that McPherson and Mohabir were known to the priest and would often visit his home. The police are currently on the hunt for a third suspect. According to reports, the priest's body, bearing multiple stab wounds, were discovered by his daughter Renata and the current priest Mansell Alves. Police said the body was found with about 7 stab wounds and his forehead was swollen. When the newsroom returns, the health minister believes it was purely coincidental that a policeman with chickenpox died after taking the filaria pills. Stay tuned. This is the newsroom. The health minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, on Wednesday said he believed that it was purely coincidental that a policeman died after taking 2 chickenpox vaccines and then the pills for filaria. Dr. Anthony said the Ministry of Health, along with representatives from the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization, are investigating the death. Rockcliffe Kosia, a police constable who was infected with chickenpox, died at around 18 hours 15 at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation on Tuesday. Police headquarters in a statement noted that Kosia, who was from Supply East Bank, Demerara, received 2 injections for chickenpox at around 8 hours 30 on Tuesday, and then at around 14 hours 30, he took pills being used to treat filaria. Kosia collapsed while in a barrack room and was picked up and rushed to the GPHC in an unconscious state. It was further reported that he was placed in incubation, during which he had a relapse, suffered 2 seizures, and subsequently passed away. Dr. Anthony said, based on the reported circumstances of the man's death, it would be premature to attribute either the filaria or chickenpox medication.
The ministry has launched an investigation into it because we have to ascertain the facts before we can make any pronouncement. We heard that 2 vaccines were given to this person, and at the same time he also took the filaria tablets. I don't know at this point in time whether that is indeed so, but we will have to investigate it. As we speak, we have put together a team from the Ministry of Health and PAHO WHO to pull all the documents relating to this incident from the health center where he went, and to launch that investigation. Generally, when we review the safety profile of, say, the filaria tablets, you're not supposed to have any adverse event like this, and therefore, in my view, it might be purely coincidental. But nevertheless, we have to allow this investigation to take its course and let the experts review it, and then we will be able to report on what their findings are.
After paying almost $100 million for a plot of land and with a modern facility constructed and being utilized, Sevon's Waste Management Inc. is being asked by the government to vacate the plot of land it claims the company is illegally occupying. But the company's chief executive officer is maintaining that the purchase was above board, and while not interested in a legal battle, he is prepared to defend that purchase.
Declaring that his company followed all guidelines and legal procedures in the purchase of a plot of land that the government is now seeking to repossess, Chief Executive Officer of Sevon's Waste Management Inc., Merce Archer, is hoping for a resolution void of any legal showdown. On Tuesday, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal wrote the company declaring the sale of the land to Sevon's as illegal and asked that they vacate the land or risk both criminal charges and civil legal proceedings. Speaking to the newsroom on Wednesday, a disappointed Archer said the land was purchased from the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission in 2018 for $100 million, of which $80 million has already been paid. The CEO said as per the written agreement with the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission, he was told that the transport for the land will take 3 years to be transferred, and once that is done, the remaining $20 million would be paid. In the interim, Archer explained that he was granted a 50-year lease by the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission, which he is currently paying on simultaneously. The CEO said he also received the government evaluation for the land, putting the value at $47 million. He said despite this, when he approached the commission, he was told he has to pay $100 million.
We have followed our guidelines, all guidelines given by the government in terms of purchasing the property. We have purchased the property for $100 million Guyana dollars. So we have two documents. One is a lease, and one is the memorandum to purchase, which we don't pay $80 million, on which the $20 million should be passed. On the transport. We have gone through all the application process in terms of the central housing approval. As you normally go to city council approval. We have gone through all of that. And then we started to construct, and the construction was going on over a year. As a matter of fact, it's only 2 weeks ago we moved in.
Archer recalled that he previously held a lease for the same plot of land from the Georgetown Mayor and City Council, but said when he applied to start construction, he was told by the Central Housing and Planning Authority that permission needed to be sought from the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission. With the GL and SC permission, Archer said his company spent the last year constructing a building on the land and only moved in 2 weeks ago. The CEO is hoping that good sense will prevail and he does not have to go to court to defend his purchase.
Well, to be honest with you, right, I'm hoping and I'm still hoping. I mean, look, all we know is business, sir. All we have been doing is business. We try from trying to be a dynamic and a diverse company as we could be. We have started from humble beginnings. We still remain humble because it's something on our daily meeting and inspiring our staff that whatever we do, let's try to be as humble as we possibly could. We are employing over 200 and I think our last check was 230 something persons working with us. And we try to be humble, and I have faith in that. I think somehow common sense and good sense will prevail. That's one of the unfortunate things. I would have been so happy if we were to have an engagement before, but I mean, unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, I'm still open to that. Right. But I think as wanting to see business thrive in Guyana, and wanting and us, because the thing is, we trying our best to gear up for this industry. We have been employing a lot of young bright Guyanese. I mean, is the way I'm trying to direct the company.
Nandlal has already said that the Lands and Surveys Commission had no legal authority to sell the land. To this end, Nandlal said the transaction is unlawful, null, void and of no effect, as is the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the company and the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission. That MOU contained a promise to sell the land. Nandlal also noted that the former Lands and Surveys boss had no lawful authority to make such a promise for sale. He said such power resides with the President of Guyana and was never delegated to the Commissioner of Lands. As a consequence, subleases to Sol Guyana Inc. and Quorum Restaurant Holding Inc. are also unlawful. The AG reasoned that with the entire transaction being done without the knowledge of the rightful owner of the lands, the National Sports Commission simply compounds the impropriety and illegality with which the transaction was done. Nandlal said the National Sports Commission, which owns the land, plans to use it for the development of sports and the construction of facilities. For the Newsroom, I'm Kurt Campbell.
Now, 4 days after they were left homeless due to a fire, 2 of the 3 Cemetery Road La Penitence Georgetown families are pleading with the public for assistance. They spoke with the Newsroom's Sheena Henry.
3 houses from Castello Housing Scheme, one of which housed a famous soup shop on Cemetery Road, were on Saturday, February 13 gutted by fire, leaving 3 families homeless. According to the owner of the soup hut, he was lying down when he smelled something burning and assumed that his wife was not paying attention in the kitchen. However, what he got up to was worse.
When I done my chores, I was going inside and catch my rest. I said inside the bedroom, I got a funny smell and I turned and I said, "Rose, what you are burning out there?" I'm not paying attention. She said, "Not here," or "It's not here." So I said, "Where?" But by the time I jump up and come to the door, the kind of smell I get in, I know this is something more serious than fire. So why is my wife and my daughter and another one worker run to the front? I run through the back entrance. And when I stand up on the culvert, I see smoke coming from that on the left hand side of this building before us there. It was just only white smoke. And by the time couple visitors that come and see the smoke passers by and other residents watching the smoke, I see watching the smoke, I hear the roof go poof. And all I could see is flames coming like if when you light the gas stove.
He stressed that had the Guyana Fire Service been punctual, the fire would have been contained.
In the meantime, everybody trying to get onto the fire service. Fire service take a little while to come, but when they come, they didn't come prepared. One man come with a length of hose, another one with not a fireman, come with a short pants on and just a fire jacket. They take over half an hour to get themselves active.
He explained that it was really public-spirited citizens that rendered assistance.
She was the person actually doing the fireman work, snatching the hose, running, getting fall down. By the time they get the hose active, the first set of water come out spraying. Within like 15 seconds, the hose dropped down, no water. There was a chance right there they could actually utilize, they could have contained this fire from in the oil. They did the fail. The fire service failed to consume this fire.
Isaacs added that his family, along with the other affected family, are doing their best to cope, as they cannot go anywhere else and will be accepting any assistance rendered.
We here now, we moving, because if we move, we really got nowhere to go. At least for my side and this family that live back here, because see we here and we trying our best to cope and whatsoever. Well, we're grateful for the assistance and we welcome any assistance from any one of the agencies that could make it possible for us. We will be grateful. And my number is 639-5909. I'm grateful for any assistance. Any assistance.
Meanwhile, the family of the house where the fire originated explained their encounter with the fire. They were at church when they received the news.
One of our tenants came and said there is smoke coming from the house upstairs. So I went over to the house and tried to go upstairs, but a lot of smoke. Plenty, a lot, like from knee height going up. So I just took off a gas bottle and got out of the house and ran out because I heard like glass, because we have a lot of glass stuff. Crystals, and I heard like they were breaking and loud noises of like glass breaking and a lot of smoke. And from breathing in, I feel the smoke like it choking me, so I just run out of the house. I couldn't get anything.
So nothing was able to be saved?
No, nothing was able to be saved.
They, as well, are accepting provided assistance.
My number is 604-3924.
Reporting for the newsroom from the Castello Housing Scheme, I am Sheena Henry.
Thousands of residents of the William Housing Scheme West Coast Demerara are accessing potable water for the first time due to a timely intervention by Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodrigues. Minister Rodrigues, along with a technical team from the Guyana Water Incorporated and the Central Housing and Planning Authority, visited the area on Tuesday, where she engaged the residents on water and other issues affecting them. The minister said the area is now connected to the Zeeburg water distribution network as part of a temporary solution to ease residents' water woes. She said the Central Housing and Planning Authority will undertake a long-term solution to the issue.
We have a plan to address the water situation in the new scheme, a permanent solution as well as a temporary one. The permanent solution is going to take a longer time for us to implement, but because we want to bring immediate relief to the residents there, we're going to do a temporary connection first, which will come from the existing network at Zeeburg. You'll still be getting treated water, so the quality will be very good. And the more permanent solution will come a bit later on, and that will be undertaken by the Central Housing and Planning Authority. So GWI will make a temporary connection. I believe they have started work already, and so the residents will get immediate relief.
This is the newsroom. Christopher Fernandes, who has been the chairman of the Board of Governors of the St. Stanislaus College for the past 15 years, was on Tuesday evening honored by members of the school's Canadian Alumni Association for his long-standing service to the school. More in this report.
76-year-old Christopher Fernandes, who is also the Chief Executive Officer of John Fernandes Limited, was presented with a piece of artwork done by distinguished Guyanese artist Stanley Greaves. The piece, called El Dorado's Mirror, is part of a series of exhibition that was on show at the OAS Gallery in Washington, D.C. as part of Guyana's Republic Anniversary celebration. The simple yet significant event, which was held at the company's Water Street office in Georgetown, was also attended by President of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, who is also a former student of the college. In his acceptance speech, Fernandes said the event came as a surprise to him.
I appreciate the gesture. Stanley Greaves is a friend of mine. He's even closer friend of my brother Bob, who he taught at Sacred Art as well as at Stanislaus. And I'm happy to receive something of Stanley's work. But to have the president here is like icing on the cake, and I like icing. I always say cake without icing is no cake.
As a former student of the school, Fernandes has been serving and giving back to ensure the school uphold its distinguished standard of excellence. But this did not just start with Fernandes, as his father, John Fernandes, actually organized the All Boys Association to raise funds for the school. Fernandes was also appointed a member of the school's farm committee and later the chairman of that committee some 42 years ago. He continues to hold this post today. According to Fernandes, the school's farm is capable of generating some $5 million per year, and this is used to assist in the school's development.
Let's say the farm is in existence and for the last 45 years. It was set up to satisfy the needs of the education system at the time, where President Burnham wanted to make agriculture a base for the economy. And our headmaster at the time responded by having it. It was a live laboratory, so to speak. They planted crops, they tended livestock. It was very successful. And the surplus that we generated was used to enhance the facilities of the school.
Meanwhile, President Ali assured the school of his support and stated that the Fernandes family has made tremendous contributions to Guyana's development. The president said that the recognition on Tuesday was well deserved.
The difference between Saints and many other institutions is that when you exit Saints, you exit as a well-rounded individual. And that is the complete difference. I mean, in our years, we We were the champion at basketball, volleyball, football, debating, cricket, and it tells a story of an institution that was supported, but many people don't know where that support comes from. And for us to recognize a pillar of that support, Mr. Chris Fernandes, is, I think, doing our earthly duty.
Christopher Fernandes is the recipient of the Golden Arrow of Achievement and the Cassie Crown of Honor. The head of state and several other former members of the school, including Fernandes' son David, were joined via Zoom by members of the Toronto Association for the presentation on Tuesday. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanala Patwa.
The Minister of Public Works, Juan Edgel, had cause on Tuesday to urge contractors undertaking government projects, particularly road works, to ensure that it is completed in keeping with the specifications outlined in their contracts. He made a statement while inspecting ongoing projects in Regions 5 and 6. During meetings with residents in the areas visited, the minister heard repeated complaints against contractors who are accused of second-rate work.
From since I got here, the contention was what the bill says did not happen. The engineer is indicating to us, and I've seen with my own eyes, that it would appear that the road got parts. We have some solid foundation of crusher run and stone. So you have sections that you don't want to destroy the foundation that exists, right? So that is what you call an adjustment to the design. Did you give, or did the ministry give, written instructions to change the...
No, not to say, but we can get that to them.
No. I asked a simple question.
No, we didn't give it.
Did you give written instructions to the contractor?
Yes, the contractor, but not the NDC. So
the written instructions to the contractor will be recorded where? When you give written instructions?
in my possession.
A copy of it?
Yeah, a copy in the office.
In the office. Well, I need to see that written instruction. Now, if a written instruction is given to the contractor, right, it means that he's either doing less or he's doing more. And if he's doing less, the measured works will show that he can get 31 million for a job because he didn't have to do 31 million of work.
As Catholics and non-Catholics took part in Ash Wednesday observances, Bishop Francis Allen, the Bishop of Georgetown, expressed hope that this season of Lent would be one of purification and reconciliation. As Danica Paul reports, because of COVID-19, the Ash Wednesday observance was different than usual.
Ash Wednesday, which marks the beginning of Lent, is a season of reflection, praying and fasting, which prepares Catholics around the world for the resurrection of Christ on Easter Sunday. The 40 days praying and fasting was ushered in by the usual midday mass at the Immaculate Cathedral in Georgetown on Wednesday. This year's celebration of Ash Wednesday took a different turn as compared to the previous years. Since we are faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, Bishop Francis Allen said that in keeping with the precautionary measures laid out by the National COVID-19 Task Force, some changes were made to the order of Mass and the way the ashes are administered on the forehead.
Our usual practice is to sign people on their foreheads with the ashes, but we cannot have the touching. So instead we will just, with the ash, just sprinkle it over the heads of the recipients.
Bishop Allen said that Ash Wednesday is not just for Catholics, but for anyone so desirous of taking part in the holy act.
The very fact that they come is a sign, it's an expression of something that's going on, that they want to either do something better in their lives, or they want to draw closer to God, or they have hope for something better for themselves.
Bishop Allen spoke about the significance of Ash Wednesday.
And on Ash Wednesday, we have the distribution of ashes. And that too is very symbolic. And we use the words when we distribute the ashes, we say, remember that you are dust, and to dust you will return. So we have to do the distancing, we have to do the masks, we must do the sanitizing. So we've had 2 services here already this morning, and after each we've had to sanitize the church before others can come.
As many persons observed Ash Wednesday, a few persons said it is that time of year most Catholics look forward to, as they take much time to reflect on their life and the life of God.
Normally on Ash Wednesday, what I normally do is look for things that I want to advance in my life or so on. I will focus on those things and go ahead with it, right? Like normally, with the 40 days, normally people they come off of meat or they come off of using certain things or a certain behavior. I will look for change in my behavior or so on throughout the 40 days.
Right, and it means a lot for me because this is the opportunity that you have here to get close with God. And this is one of the opportunities that you can use. Also, during the Lenten season, you can have the opportunity to go to confession and able to confess your sin and discuss that with your priest.
Reporting for the newsroom, I am Danica Paul.
When the newsroom returns, the financial weather and bridge reports along with sport. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. The full court on Wednesday unanimously dismissed an appeal by Secretary of the Guyana Cricket Board Anand Sanasi to stop the Demerara Cricket Board elections slated for Friday, February 19. The matter was heard by the full court judges, Justice Nareshwar Harnanan and Justice Fidela Corbin Lincoln. On Monday, the High Court ruled that the Demerara Cricket Board election of office bearers be held on February 19, 2021. The meeting to elect the executive committee is fixed for 11 hours at the Demerara Cricket Club in Queenstown. Shortly after that ruling, an appeal was filed to set aside the decision. Moments after the appeal was thrown out on Wednesday, attorney Arudranath Gosai, representing 3 affiliates of the Demerara Cricket Board, told Newsroom Sport that the judges agreed that Justice Singh had jurisdiction to make the order which he made, which is to fix the elections for Friday. The court also ruled that the DCB elections in January 2020 is of no effect to the elections that Justice Singh ordered, and in any event, once the act was back in force, election of those officers would have come to an end. On Friday, there will be 2 agenda items: the call to order by a marshal of the High Court of the Supreme Court of Judicature and the nomination and election of a returning officer for the conduct of the elections of the members of the Executive Committee of the Demerara Cricket Board. Meanwhile, the Secretary of the Guyana Cricket Board, Anand Sanasi, on Wednesday confirmed his nomination as a challenger to the incumbent Cricket West Indies President Ricky Skerritt at next month's elections. Sanasi has been a director of Cricket West Indies over the last decade and is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Cricket Guyana Inc. More in this report. It is understood Calvin Hope, the Vice President of the Barbados Cricket Association, is in the running for the Cricket West Indies Vice President post, currently held by Dr. Kishore Shallow. Like Sanasi, Hope is also a Cricket West Indies Director. Nominations for the CWI posts closed on February 18. The elections will be held on March 28. The team of Skerritt and Dr. Shallow won the last elections in 2019, unseating Wycliffe Dave Cameron and Emmanuel Nanton by an 8-4 vote. Prior to those elections, Sanasi had announced in a section of the media Guyana's intention to vote for the incumbent Cameron. After the elections, however, the cricket administrator told Newsroom Sport the new president has his support 100%. His comments had come moments after Skerritt, in an exclusive interview with the newsroom after being elected, stating, quote, "It won't be business as usual on the Guyana issue," end quote. Skerritt was at the time responding to questions on the status of the Guyana Cricket Board, given elections have not been held in close to a decade, mainly as a result of a plethora of court matters. Skerritt said back then that the legal claims and the uncertainty about the legitimacy of the Guyana Cricket Board only came to his attention during the campaign. He said, and I quote, "I've been on the Cricket West Indies board for some time, and it has never come up in a board meeting, so clearly the previous dispensation was to be totally oblivious to any local problems in Guyana," end quote. Still in cricket, Cricket West Indies Chief Executive Officer Johnny Grave has indicated they're extremely happy to be able to host Sri Lanka, their first home series in the pandemic, for a full tour which starts next month. More from Akim Green.
Cricket West Indies on Tuesday confirmed that all-format international tour between West Indies and Sri Lanka, starting in March, will signal the return of international cricket to the Caribbean. The two teams will play 3 T20 internationals, 3 one-day internationals, and 2 tests in a biosecure environment in Antigua from Wednesday, March 3rd to Friday, April 2nd. Grave, speaking to CWI Media, indicated they are most happy for the tour to occur given the prevailing circumstances.
It's been a long time since we hosted Ireland in the Caribbean back in January of 2020, so just delighted that we've been able to get Sri Lanka to fulfill their obligation under the ICC Future Tours programme and still visit the Caribbean. We've had to delay the tour by a few days due to 2 of the Sri Lanka touring party testing positive for COVID-19 at the start of this month. But we've been working really closely with our counterparts at Sri Lanka Cricket, and delighted that today we were able to confirm that the tour is on and that we haven't been able to keep all the matches going. So all 3 formats, as you say, 3 T20s, 3 ODIs and 2 test matches.
The C also indicated they are happy with the success of the test team in Bangladesh and they hope it can continue with such performances on a Sri Lankan tour.
We're enormously proud of the team and can't speak highly enough of the way that they carried themselves throughout both test matches. I thought it was fantastic performances, and the way that they played can make the entire Caribbean extremely proud of their performances. And they're on their way back now. I think they're arriving into New York shortly, and they'll be here in Antigua tomorrow, and we're looking forward to welcoming them. And hopefully that test team can go from strength to strength, and we can all really look forward to the visit of Sri Lanka at the end of March, where we're playing again another 2 important test matches in the World Test Championship.
As a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic, both teams will stay in the biosecure bubbles, with all matches being held in Antigua to accommodate a later arrival date by Sri Lanka. Fans will not be able to attend matches, but will be able to follow on TV, radio and through CWI's digital channels. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Now, Windward Islands Volcanoes recorded their 2nd win of the CG Insurance Super 50 Cup as they beat Jamaica Scorpions by 92 runs at the Coolidge Cricket Ground on Tuesday night. Volcanoes made 260 for 8 of their 50 overs as left-hander Kieran Kotoy top scored with 64, including 4 fours and 5 sixes. In reply, Jamaica had a bad start and were 61 for 5 in the 15th over before being bowled out for 168 in the 37th. The left-arm spinner Larry Edwards celebrated his 26th birthday in style with a match-winning spell of 3 for 36 of 10 overs. When Windwards batted, Andre Fletcher made 60 from 51 balls at the top of the order with 4 fours and 3 sixes. Kotoy was named the CG Insurance Man of the Match as he continued his good form to follow up his career-best 72 in the previous match against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. Volcanoes were 171 for 5 after 40 overs, but Kotoy raised the tempo with a number of breathtaking shots as the last 10 overs yielded 89 runs. And Faf du Plessis, the former South Africa captain, has retired from Test cricket after 69 appearances in the format. With no Test cricket in the immediate future for South Africa, du Plessis wants to walk into a new chapter and focus his energies and attention primarily on T20 cricket, keeping in mind the 2 World Cups scheduled in 2021 and 2022. Du Plessis, now 36, made his Test debut in Adelaide on South Africa's 2012 tour and was named the player of the match for his 78 and 110 not out in a memorable draw. Du Plessis' stonewalling helped South Africa to bat out 4.5 sessions on a wearing pitch. He went on to hit 10 centuries and 21 half centuries in Test matches, ending with 4,163 runs at an average of 40. He became the Test captain, succeeding A.B. de Villiers in 2016 and led South Africa in 36 Test matches before stepping down in February 2020. Du Plessis finished with a decent Test captaincy record with 18 wins and 15 losses. And senior track and field returned to the National Track and Field facility on Sunday, and for many of the country's top Olympic prospects, it was the first chance to test their levels after months of training. The output by some has impressed the Athletics Association of Guyana President Aubrey Hudson.
Top of the list of those who impressed was Emmanuel Archibald, who ran a personal best of 10.21 seconds and jumped an unofficial world leading distance of 8.12 meters. Javelin athlete Leslin Beard also got a positive start to his bid to qualify for the Olympic Games. All of those performances and others has impressed Hudson.
You would have seen it, particularly Emmanuel Archibald doing fantastic in the long jump. His time in the 200 was great too, but that was slightly renated. But between his long jump, which was a legal jump, and we also have Leslie Beard, who would have done pretty well as a season opener in the javelin throw. I think those 2 performances really and truly do stand out. We're a bit concerned, though, about the little injury that took place to Brianna Charles. I mean, we know that she's been training very, very hard, and we only hope that it's not too difficult an injury or too serious an injury, that she can recover as quickly as possible to get back into competition.
Some of the athletes who were impressed with their start to the season expressed the need for more competition so they can further improve their output. However, the person indicated they have more meets planned, but they will have to continue to work closely with the Ministry of Health.
It will depend on the ministry giving us that green light again to have another meet. We are looking at the first weekend in March to have our second developmental meet before we go into our National Senior Championship in April. So outside of that, though, particularly Emmanuel and Leslie, we need to get them into international competition. So we need to start looking externally to see how much more we can get them into outside of competing locally.
Hudson also said it's important that the overseas-based athletes return home for the senior championships in April.
22nd of May is the date for the South American Senior Championships. So we are looking to hold our national seniors in April so that we can see the athletes who are ready to go to the South American Senior Championship. I'm only hoping that the athletes in the Guyanese athletes who are outside of Guyana will take note of these dates, because if you really and truly want to earn the necessary points to get to the Olympics, competing at your national senior championship and the South American Senior Championship are very, very important.
For the newsroom, Akim Green.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.